This is a tutorial of how to use the counselor dashboard. The first thing is if you ever have that prompt appear, it means that the macros have not been enabled and you have to click that enable content so that you can run the programs. So you're on this main page of the counselor dashboard, and the very first time you sit with a patient, you're going to populate this dashboard with that patient's information. And you'll start with this green button down here. It's only for the first session. You'll be prompted right away when you select that green button to type in the study subject ID. This is the last 6 digits of the Pennington study subject ID without any spaces. So we're going to type in the sample subject here. And you'll be prompted right away to select the main database, which is cleaned every day. So it's the clean database which was obtained from the web portal. And we'll go and click the latest version. In our desktop. And then you'll see the program do some work. And now, instead of an empty graph on the main page, what you're going to see is the predicted weight, which is the model, and the upper and lower bounds, just like they see on their smartphones. If you click on the graph, it'll automatically rescale so you can see the entire graph from beginning to the end. Now, this graph on the main page is by pregnancy week. If you go to the daily body trace weights tab, which is the next tab over, you're going to see a daily version, and if you click on the graph, it also will rescale, which it's already nicely rescaled. And some of these tabs are empty, but one of the tabs, a couple tabs here, like the predictions in pounds, have all the simulated numerical values of the predictions and the upper and lower bounds. The data in kilograms has entirely the same information you had on the previous tab. It's just the same information converted to kilograms. And study subject information is now populated with this study subject data. So you'll see their prescribed trimester intakes and numerous other information. Notice that these fields here are blank still, and they come from selecting some of the other choices on the main page. So Toolbox Report is empty because we haven't done anything yet. And the last 2 tabs over here, the flag codes and the video tutorial, are here because they're informational. These flag codes I'll explain later, but if you ever forget, you can just click over to the flag codes to see what the color codes stand for. Now, there's several things you will need to refresh when you sit and counsel a patient, and the first one is the weight records. So this is the body trace data, and that's also housed in the main cleaned database. You'll be again prompted like before, and it'll do some work like before. But now you'll see that these green weekly weights are populated on the main weight graph. And if you click, it will zero in right to where the beginning and end of your data exists. On the daily body trace weights, you have a daily version, and it may look fairly noisy here. So what you can do is you can zoom in to a specified range. So we'll put in, for example, 100 to 150. And you'll see now you can look at patterns between day 100 to day 150. You can do the same kind of process to refresh step records. So we do the same thing we did before, and it will pull all the step records up to date. And now we're on this daily steps page, and you see that inside this graph you have the target steps along with the daily steps, so you can see when they were above and below. And like all the other graphs, to rescale, you just click on the graph, and this is already scaled to a nice viewpoint, so you don't have to worry about it here. But This will make it so that you can zero in right around the data that you have. The summary of study subject informational views are a record of how many times this subject has looked at their weight graph and their other information. So if we click that, we'll be told that there's nothing viewed yet by us. So we'll be prompted again to refresh. And we'll go back to the main storage. And now you'll see that we have a weight graph, step graph, and lesson views. The second time or third time that you select this, it will give you a record of the last time you looked at it, along with what the numbers were, so you don't have to go back to that tab. And then it'll ask you to refresh again. The Run Flags button tells you, gives you a quick set of information on whether they were in or out of the zone. If there's no data, it will be flagged a teal, and that will tell you if there's a week of no data appearing. The green represents being in the zone and gaining weight. The yellow represents either being within a pound of the upper or lower zones, or if they're losing weight within the zones. There's one more flag that doesn't appear here, and that's an adverse event flag. If you go to the flag codes, a dark bluish purple, it represents that the subject has lost too much weight, and this is flagged as an adverse event. The toolbox options represent some strategies you've applied with the patient. So if you click that, you'll see that nothing's been applied yet. So let's make up a date. And let's suppose we want to use increased contact. And you'll see now you're sent to the toolbox page with a record of what's been done. Now the next time you use this, it'll tell you what you applied with the patient the last time, and then you can put in a new date. Let's suppose we want to, well, let's keep that. We select some more options, and now you'll get a running total each time of what's been done with the patient. And this completes all the information about the counselor dashboard.